nice to see you again. We are in our third live of the week. We're on a roll, and I have spoken about everybody else's team. We've spoken about Newcastle, we've spoken about Liverpool, we've spoken about Arsenal, we've spoken about Chelsea, and I thought it was probably about time that I speak about my own team, Manchester United. Considering, as per usual, we are in all of the headlines. I know we are still only November, the end of November, but only November. And the talk about the transfer window has been absolutely rife. I have done my best to avoid it as much as possible so far because realistically, Manchester United very rarely do anything in the January transfer window, and it is in fact 2 months away. I am very quiet, Flossie. Okay, let me see. Maybe if I just bring it a little bit closer to me. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just talking super quiet today. Is that... Oh, we don't want that angle. Oh, my double chins. Is that any better, Flossie? Because I'm just on my phone, so it shouldn't be drastically different than usual. But let me know if that is any better at all. And let me push some buttons here. I don't want to mute myself. Hold on a wee second. Let us see. No, that muted me. Just let me know if that's any better, Flossie, because other than that, I'm just going to have to be loud. It could be just the acoustics in my room, because obviously my mic does not interact with my laptop, so a lot of the time I'm doing these streams off my phone, which means I'm relying basically on the phone to behave itself. But it does mean I'm limited anyway, but I'm limited in what I can do to fix it because I don't want to make it worse. So I will try and speak loudly so that maybe makes it come across better, but also tell me if I'm shouting. Because I just pushed some things, so maybe that jiggery pokeried and made it do what it was supposed to do. So fingers crossed it holds out now for the stream, because if it breaks, I don't know how to fix it. So let's just hope that I am going to perform better than Manchester United's midfield. See how smooth that was? Smooth. But yes, so I don't really like talking about the transfer window too early, because we have it literally in the lead up to the summer. We have it for the whole summer. Then after the summer, we talk about the results of the transfer window, who did good, who did bad, who has been performing. And then when that's all done, we start talking about the January transfer window immediately, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to talk about transfers, I want to talk about football matches. So I'm going to try and talk about football matches as much as possible, but the news with just Manchester United and transfers is absolutely incessant. It is absolutely incessant because our midfield is not performing as it should. Now, my question is whether that is actually down to a problem in the midfield or a problem in our 10 position. So we are going to get to that, but obviously we have had some breaking news or some kind of up-to-date current affair news today in relation to Elliot Anderson of Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, who are currently sitting 16th in the Premier League table, they have dragged themselves, as myself and Ash predicted, out of the relegation zone. Sean Dyche joined them there at the end of October, and since the 1st of November, interestingly enough, their match was against Manchester United that day, which they drew. They have gone unbeaten in 5 games, which Manchester United wanted a medal for, so I would just like to show other teams are also doing that. That's an interesting comment there with an interesting username. I'm not sure what it adds to the conversation, but thanks for joining, friend. So yes, obviously David Ornstein, Laurie Whitwell, 2 of the big hitters have come out today. And Flossie, would you mind just removing this person from the chat, because he's adding nothing to the conversation and apparently just wants to be rude. So if we can just get rid of him. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sometimes it's hard to work out if they're trolling or if they're just insane. But yeah, we don't need that. Nice chats, nice interactions. Everybody's welcome. All the fan bases are welcome. No problem with a bit of banter. But lads, let's just not get nasty, because that's not the vibe, and frankly it just won't be tolerated. And Flossie is on it. She will get you. She's going to do a John Wick. she's going to take you out. I do see all the lovely people that are joining though. I know Guest was in here, I saw her. I see our Twist coming in. Obviously Mama is here. I see Streets. Who else have we got? We've got Abza Mohammed. Today is his birthday. Happy birthday. Thank you so much for joining, guys. I know I don't normally do lives on Friday, but like that, I want to start doing a bit more lives, a bit more interaction. It's a bit more fun, and it means I get to actually, hear from you guys as you're able to answer me back in real time. We can have a conversation. Thank you so much. Oh, hi, Chris. Hi, nice to see you. Twisted, you were here early. Thank you for joining. Hello, the King. Hello, Gav. Gav has made it. Guys, welcome Gav to the channel. He has been meaning to come for a while. He finally subscribed there not long ago, and he has now made it to a live. Big clap for Gav. Welcome everybody. Please do smash a like on your way into the video. I see lots and lots of new faces joining today. Thank you so much for spending your Friday evening with me, because I know there are so many exciting things to do on a Friday evening. But sometimes we just need to talk football. So I'm going to get stuck into it. I will say hi to people as I see them joining, but I'm going to get stuck into it for everybody who is here. As I said, the transfer news is just going off at the moment, and I just can't avoid it anymore, particularly with United. There's always some news, but really the focus is the midfield. Obviously our midfield has not been performing probably for the better part of a decade. It's I'll be honest, I would argue we never really replaced Roy Keane. So I just think that's a problem that's been ongoing. We've never really sorted it, and it's still there. We've got Bruno. Whatever you think about Bruno, his position is he's not a midfielder, he's a 10. He's just not a midfielder. Casemiro is aging out. We're going to go through our roster. Obviously, David Ornstein, Laurie Wetwell, two big hitters have come out today. They've said that, Manchester United have prioritised Elliot Anderson. He's their number one target. That's who they want. Obviously, the entire summer, it was Dilema. We didn't end up getting him. He seems deeply unsettled this season. I personally have expressed reservations because for me, it's not that I don't think the player is talented. He's young, he'll learn, he'll come from that. There's loads of different things. So I certainly wouldn't hold it against him as such that his season this season hasn't been as good as last season. What I hold against him, unfortunately, is we are not a place to nurture youth. Not at the moment. I know traditionally Manchester United are, but at the moment we just aren't. We're not the place, and we don't give confidence. We don't nurture them through. We don't develop them. We're barely coping with the more senior players as it is. We definitely don't have the time to concentrate on developing youth. And that is what Dilema is going to need. So I don't think he would get what he needs from Manchester United. The fact that he has been so unsettled by the fact that he didn't get the Manchester United move is also a concern for me, because the way I see it is, we have had so many young players come to us or come through our ranks who have been so talented, but the problem has been their attitude. The problem has been their mentality. The problem has been that the stage is too big for them. The problem has been that they can't cope under the pressure. And my thing is, if he has been so deeply affected by a move that didn't happen, how deeply would he be affected by being booed off the pitch like what happened to Xerxes? How deeply would he be affected by being approached by a fan, being told that he needs to cross the ball more when he's signing autographs, like what happened with Alejandro Garnacho? How deeply would he be affected by the social media, by the furore, by everything that comes with being a Manchester United player? So I don't question his talent or his ability. I don't question the fact that he will come good. I question the fact that a developmental player who needs structure and guidance and coming to Manchester United is not a good mix. So I don't think we are the place to get the best out of him. And I don't think we would benefit from having him in the way maybe another team would who has the time to spend on him. So the fact that we are now concentrating on an Elliot Anderson, who again is young, I think Elliot Anderson, he's 23, so it's not that he's, really an old head on his shoulders, but I don't have the same concerns associated with him as I have now with Dilema after the failed move in the summer. So I was kind of happy to see that Dilema is no longer our primary target for the midfield. Another reason for that is because Manchester United can be a wee bit lazy when it comes to transfer windows. As I've already mentioned, we tend not to do things in January. We pretend that transfer window literally doesn't exist. So we're a little bit lazy when it comes to transfers. We go for the easy option, we go for the cheap option, we go for the option that nobody else is fighting to get because it's easy, because there's less effort associated with that and normally less money. So I'm actually quite impressed with the fact that we're not just going, well, we've already done the groundwork with Dilema. Dilema wants to come to us, therefore he is going to remain our primary target, even with these concerns now attached to him. So I'm delighted the fact that we've actually moved on to a target that is, on the surface of it, more suitable for what we want to do. So I actually think even that small detail in itself is a drastic step forward for Manchester United and our attitude to how we normally deal with these situations. I am not going to pretend to be an expert on Elliot Anderson. I am not going to pretend to be an expert on Nottingham Forest players, but I'm going by, I suppose, what I'm hearing. I'm going by the clips I'm seeing. He seems to suit what we want more. He doesn't have the question marks attached to him that Dilema does. It's the option that Manchester United don't normally go with. It's the harder path, which is completely against what we've been doing in recent years. And we want to go against what we have been doing in recent years because it's been terrible. So anything that looks like it's different from that feels like a positive step. So that's all good. Now, the question is whether he will want to leave Nottingham Forest, because at the moment they're 16th. At the moment they're not doing great. They had a bad start to the season, but they really do seem to be turning that around. Apologies, I forgot to put my phone on silent before I started the stream and I'm getting notifications. Apologies for that. But yeah, so for me, the question is, will he want to leave? Because he might decide, you know what, Nottingham Forest might go on a run. They're already starting to turn it around with Sean Dyche. As I said, they're gone unbeaten in their last 5. So he might just decide, you know what, no, I'm going to stick it out. Some players, it's rarer and rarer and rarer, but some players are just very loyal to their clubs. The other problem, and I think probably the more realistic problem that we are going to have, is that since Manchester United decided that they wanted to prioritise Elliot Anderson, Manchester City, according to Craig Hope, have also decided that they would like to prioritise Elliot Anderson. It's almost like we saw this with a certain goalkeeper in the summer, and Manchester United went, you know what, you have him, it's fine. So the timing of that, Ornstein and Whitwell come out, United have prioritised Anderson. A few hours later, Craig Hope's out there going, yeah, well, so have Manchester City, friends. And I'm like, lads, are we not in a bad enough situation? Would you kick a puppy? What is wrong with you people? Leave us alone. We are making enough problems for ourselves. We don't need your help, thank you very much. Now, I would like to think, and I am slightly biased, obviously, but I would like to think that given the choice, the young man would come to the red side of Manchester. But let's face it, we are not the team we once were, and in his lifetime, which is much shorter than mine, most of what he will have seen is Manchester City having success and us being a sleeping giant, is the politest way I can put it. So that's going to be a whole thing. I can feel the saga unfolding. We are 2 months away from the transfer window and it's already started. And I have no patience. I want to know, is the transfer going to happen? Is it not? Move on. Some people enjoy the drawn out saga for the transfer windows. I am impatient. Sometimes I enjoy the roller coaster of it. Most of the time I just want to bloody well know what's happening. Are they coming or are they going? So that I think is just going to develop. But really what I want to focus on is why Manchester United are so keen to sign a midfielder. And as I've mentioned, it's because our midfield has been dreadful for years. But what I want to know is, do we have a midfield problem or do we have a number 10 problem? And I'm going to explain what I mean, because I'm sure everybody thinks I'm mad just based on that. But first of all, I see loads of people joining. I see all the familiar faces. So I want to jump in. I want to say hi to everybody. I have my mouse attached to my other computer here today. So I can actually scroll back instead of having to do it on my phone and see your comments. Incredible feats of engineering. You figured out how to work a mouse. While I'm scrolling, I'm going to take a little sip of something that is not tea, because it's Friday. So, I see Jared. We've said hi to Gab. Let me go up. So everybody's saying hi, because we're such nice people in here. All the different fan bases are just mingling. All the friends are in the house. Please remember to smash the like button. Share it to your group chats. I set my dad up on YouTube today. He doesn't know what he's doing, but I've sent it to him and I've told him what button he has to click just to watch the video. And to be fair, my dad is the reason I'm a Manchester United fan, so I thought it's only right he now has to support my dream to be a YouTuber. So that was fun. I was like, click this, and he was like, what does YouTube look like? Like, what does the button look like? And I was like, it's a big red thing with a white triangle on it. Click it. And he was like, and then how do I find your video? I was like, oh no. Right, he has WhatsApp. So I was like, I will send you the link. All you have to do is click it. You don't even have to watch it. You just have to click it. So shout out Dad if you're there. He probably doesn't know how to type a comment if he is here. So let's see. But yeah, so we have people from all walks of life joining us this evening, even if we don't know they're there. So, I haven't gone up far enough. Why are we talking about roasting chestnuts? Twisted, why do I feel like that's a euphemism when it comes to you? Hi Hector, thank you for joining. I'm trying to see anyone. Oh, Chris, are the kids still not well? Bless them. It's horrible. But you know what? It's so much better to get the chicken pox when you're a child than to get them as an adult. So get them done, get them out of the way. And at least they have them together. Imagine one gets them now and then the other one has to get them dreadful. So get it done, get it over with, rip the plaster off. I'm sure it'll be fine because I'm not the one having to care for them. But yeah, chickenpox are no good at all. So hopefully the little ones will feel better soon. Liverpool, so Streets is saying Liverpool and United have almost the exact same midfield issues. Do you know what it is? It's incredible how many Premier League teams ignore the midfield. They don't succession plan. They don't look ahead. They just, honestly, they're chaotic. You'd swear I was in charge. But yeah, I agree with you. Twisted Baba, bringing the joy as always. Anderson is lazy and expensive recruitment. Please tell me more, Twisted Baba, because you sound more informed on him than I am. Gav, who is a United fan, is saying, still think Dilema will be the main signing too, and agree his handling of the situation raises so many questions. It does, and I think because we've been burned by that before, it's something that we're very, very aware of. It's not really something that you see fans normally looking at, but just we have had our fair share of talented players that are surrounded by the wrong people, that maybe have the wrong attitude, that maybe don't have the mentality, that maybe are nice. It's not that they're nasty or rude or anything, but they cannot cope with the circus that surrounds our club. When we look at like Jadon Sancho, when we look at Marcus Rashford, and when we look at Alejandro Garnacho, and there are many, many more, but they're some of the most recent high-profile ones that for one reason or another just have not worked out, and they're all talented. So yeah, I do think it's something that we feel we need to look at going forward, especially in our environment. Let me see. Streets is agreeing with Twisted, I'm assuming, about Elliot Anderson, saying that he feels he's overhyped and that United should be looking at a Stiller, a Baleba, or a João Gomez. So let me see. Oh, hi Jared. Thank you so much for joining. Nice to see you in the live chat. Paige is joining us from lovely Kate and Jimbo. Thank you so much, Paige. It is nice to see you. Everybody's laughing at me and my notifications. I know. I'm normally, in fairness, I normally have my phone completely on silent. I normally never. Actually, my phone was on silent for so long since I got it. My phone rang one day and I literally didn't know it was my phone because I didn't recognize the ringtone. I was like, whose phone is that? It was mine. I didn't know. But a few things have happened recently where people have needed to reach me and my phone was on silent, and I have learned to keep it off silent. So then I have to remember to turn it on silent when I'm doing streams, and I have the memory of a goldfish. So here we are. But I'm glad you all got a giggle out of me. Gav, think Newcastle have the first option to re-sign him, but can't see him wanting to go back there, to be honest. Gav, be quiet. Ash might be lurking. He might get you. Or Mama Flossie, she could snipe you. But, oh, hello, Rob. Thank you for joining. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. We have some Toos friends in the house. And Jared, I don't see City signing him, but recent history will sway him towards City. And that's always the fear, Jared. I don't think he will, but it is always the fear. Just because so much recency bias, especially when you're a little bit younger, you are more influenced by recency bias and what you're seeing around you and maybe what's perceived to be cool in your circle. And if it's a younger circle, City might in some crazy universe be considered to be cooler. Although, am I allowed to say that? Is that trademark now by Mr. Palmer? But anyway, sorry, I digress. Let me see. Yes. Rob is saying he would like Stiller, as Streets mentioned. Oh, Gabble, thank you so much for popping in. Enjoy the rest of your evening. It was lovely to see you. Now, I'm going to talk about some football. I just didn't want anyone to feel neglected. Oh, Davy, I didn't see you. Hi. Thank you for saying it again, because as you can see, me and technology, we don't agree. Sometimes I scroll a little too fast and I miss some things, but thank you so much for being here. It is lovely to see you. So the reason I am undecided, but I'm questioning, do we have a midfield problem or do we have a number 10 problem? And so I want to go through our midfielders. So we have Casemiro, who is on an extremely high wage, who is aging out and who is likely going to be gone at the end of the season. We have Manuel Ugarte, who has actually worked under Ruben Amorim previously and successfully, but we have heard Ruben's comments saying that Ugarte at United is not the Ugarte that played under him before, and that he needs to improve in order to be able to get a place in this team, or it's just not going to happen. But that he would like to help him to be that player again. But at the moment is out of favour, and a lot of United fans I was one of them who really wanted him to do well, but would suggest that he's not performing to the level that we had hoped for. So he's out of favour at the moment. Hi Dave boy, nice to see you. Thank you for popping in. Enjoy the pub. I would love all my work meetings to happen in the pub as well. I think that's a fantastic idea. And cheers to you, my friend. So we have aging Casemiro. We have out of favour Ugarte. Menu. Next one is Menu. And while Menu is very, very talented, he performed very well under Ten Hag initially. He then struggled for Ten Hag's last season, the one where he was sacked, and he just hasn't seemed to curry really Amorim's favour. Whatever is going on there, he just doesn't seem to be doing what Ruben Amorim wants from him. And we're going to get to maybe why with this next person, Bruno. I have Bruno written under two different sections because in my opinion Bruno's a 10, but at the moment we are using him as a midfielder. Therefore I have to put him in the midfield category. So we have Casemiro aging out, too high wages. We have Ugarte out of favour, not the player he was. We have Menu, a mystery, but also out of favour. We have Bruno, who's not actually a midfielder at all and is just not good in that position. And then we have nobody. We have Collier, who's out on loan, who I actually quite enjoyed and I thought played quite well in the defensive midfielder role. And I am going to be doing another video on the players that we have out on loan to see how they're getting on, because when I last looked, it wasn't for good reading. But I'm interested to see what we're going to do with Collier at the end of this loan. Are we going to bring him back? Are we going to start seeing him in the United first team, because he's a little bit older than some of the others? And then obviously when we start to look then at the more youthful players, we have the Fletchers starting to come through. But realistically, if we look at our midfield roster, there's nobody. Casemiro's going to be gone. Bruno might be gone and isn't a midfielder anyway. And Ugarte and Manu are out of favour. So if you look at that, we've actually not got any midfielders by the time May comes around. So I would suggest, yes, midfield is a problem. But I think midfield is the problem because we have 16 million tens. So we bought Cunha and Mbeumo. Fantastic signings. Mbeumo has been unbelievable, and I would argue our player of the season, our signing of the season, he's everything of the season so far. He's the only player, apart from Matthias de Ligt, that actually has been consistently nailing it every match when surrounded by dross and roller coasters. But he's been fantastic. Cunha, I am undecided. And I know that's not going to go down well. Cunha already has a real cult following. He's a talented player. He's a well-liked player. He's a popular player. But he has a lot of niggles. Now, this most recent one was due to a head injury, which is obviously completely outside his control. And it's very important that he's looked after and that we make sure that that's, there's no long-lasting damage there. But even prior to this, he's been sort of in, out, on, off, on the bench starting, little niggle. And I'm keeping a watching brief. And again, I think this just comes back to being a Manchester United fan. When you've had players like Anthony Martial, talented but injured forever. When you have players like Shaw, talented but injured forever. When you have players like Martinez, talented but injured forever. We have to be aware of this. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not writing him off. I'm not thinking, oh my God, it's terrible. I'm just aware. I'm aware that he's had a few of these niggles. I'm aware that maybe it's preventing him from hitting the ground running. I'm aware that he's not got a rhythm going because he's been very in-out, stop-start. But I'm hoping that once he recovers from this head injury, that he's going to blast it. I have full faith in him. I'm just aware. So Cunha and Mbeumo, we signed as 2 number 10s when we already had in our team Ment, injury prone prior to this season, seems to be doing well so far. I have question marks whether he'll be able to play 2 games a week, because at the minute I'm not even sure if he can play a full 90 minutes. But we had Ment as a 10. We have Bruno, who is actually a 10 and our captain and plays every minute that God sends. Xerxes, in my opinion, is not a striker. He's a 9.5 and a 10. He plays off the striker. We saw this consistently. We know this. Xerxes has talent. He is not a striker. So for me, he goes in the number 10 category because he plays off the striker, which is kind of where our 10s are playing. So after that, Ahmad, who is currently playing right wing back, who is currently forming this relationship with Mbeumo, which seems to be going well, but there are many people that argue that Ahmad's best position is 10. So we already had Ahmad, Xerxes, Bruno and Ment, and then we signed Cunha and Mbeumo. We have 6 10s. We only play 2. Even if you want to back up for each, that's 4. We have 6 of them. And while I think both Cunha and Mbeumo are very talented players, and while I think Mbeumo has been our signing of the summer, and I absolutely would not give him back, it does highlight an issue. We have Casemiro, Ugarte, Manu, and Bruno with a big question mark as our midfielders. We don't have anybody else, but we bought 2 number 10s. What were we thinking? Actually, the worst thing is, I know what we were thinking because they told us. They said we need more goals. So instead of buying another striker, we're going to buy 2 more number 10s. Oh, hello, the football terrace. Well, we have been graced with the presence of a celebrity. Rob, I am not sure if Guess is here this evening because she is currently training to be a baker and she's getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So she is super sleepy. Oh, she's here! Fell asleep. How did I know? How did I know? But she's joined us. She's made it. Did the cup of tea spill is what we want to know, Guess. Did you spill the tea? So, I do think we have a problem in our midfield, but I think our actual problem is that we bought number 10s when we didn't need them. Why did we do that? What I would also say is that I think we are focusing so much on our midfield. The talk about it is like, okay, if we buy, for example, Elliot Anderson, this is going to fix all of our problems. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to score all the goals. We're going to win all the matches and everything's going to be totally fine because we've already bought a striker. Our defence is totally fine. We've loads of 10s. Clearly, if we buy a midfielder, everything is going to be fine. I would argue that's nonsense. First of all, because as we've just discussed, we need more than one midfielder because one isn't going to do the trick. Second of all, I actually think we're sleeping on a problem that we have in our defence because I hear a lot of people saying, our defence is fine, our defence is sorted, we've loads of defenders, it's all completely fine. I don't think it is fine. We are now playing a back three, which means we need more defenders. So when you play a back two and then say you have two backups, that's obviously less players than if you're playing three. You need three backups then because in United, everybody just gets injured. So if we look at the players that we play in the central three in our defence, you've got De Ligt, who have been stellar. Love De Ligt. He is so consistent and he is so underrated. He's just really understated. Very, very, very good. We have Maguire, who's aging out, who's becoming injury prone and who's likely going to be gone at the end of the season. We have Shaw, injury prone, and half of our fan base want him out. Martinez, who has been out injured forever. We have Mazraoui, who's been in and out of the team, who's looking a little rusty and who's going to be gone to AFCON, along with Ahmad and Mbeumo, I might add. We have Yoro, who is young and developmental and only learning his trade. And we have Heaven, who is even younger and developmental and only learning his trade. So if we take out Maguire, who's likely going to be gone, and if we say one of Shaw or Martinez is going to be injured, and then we say Mazraoui is going to be gone for a prolonged period, he hopes, to AFCON, and then we have two developmental players. So the reality is, when all the people are saying, oh, we just need a midfielder, we get a midfielder, everything's going to be fine. Well, no, it's not, because then we go back to, well, we still need another striker because Sesko was out and we don't have any others because apparently Chido Obi is invisible to Ruben Amorim. And we just about have a back three. So if any of them actually get injured, who's going to step in? And I see Twisted in there with his laughing faces. Is there any positives? Twisted, the positives are that we are above Liverpool. Even with this mess, we are above Liverpool. So I just thought it was very interesting because I feel like the talk all the time, and if Terry's still here, he does like to talk about this. There's one problem. You change the manager, you get a striker, you get a midfielder, everything's going to be solved. And that is just not the case. The fact is, what we did in the summer was we got good players with a good attitude who fit the system we want to play. Sene Lammens has been brilliant as well, but there is so much more work to do. And regardless of who the midfielder that we hopefully bring in is, whether it's Elliot Anderson, whether it's Dilema, whether it's Adam Morton, whether it's somebody we haven't even spoken about yet, the problems are not going to be fixed. We still have so many issues. We need definitely more than one midfielder anyway. We need to figure out what we're going to do with all of these 10s. And then we need to look at our back three. And we already know that on top of that, we need to be looking at our left wing back. Because I'm sorry, Dalot is not it. He's not the guy. Dorgu seemed to do well on international duty. He seems to be a bit up and down for United so far in the season, but I do think he has the potential and he's going to grow, but I don't think he's the starter, not right now, which means, sorry, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm going to remember the next time. That's not too bad though. I have all my WhatsApp on silent, so it's not so bad. So I'm just getting the other notifications. Oh dear. But anyway, I think I have ranted for probably the best part of 20 minutes there. That's what it is. Between Kate and Jimbo's doorbell and my phone, we're dinging all over the place here. So let me know what you guys think about what I said. I am going to take a swig off my not tea, and then I'm going to go back and read through some of your comments, okay? Right. I'm scrolling. Get them in. Quick. Right, let me see. Okay, so we know Dave Boy's in the pub. Jared says, I don't think Ugarte is working because he doesn't have the progression a Premier League midfielder needs or is smart enough to make the right decisions at the right moments. Fair enough. I don't want to argue with anyone over Ugarte. I like him. I want him to come good. I thought the fact that he had worked with Ruben Amorim previously was going to be a recipe for success, but so far it's not. The thing is, Ruben Amorim seems to think that he can pull that back out of him, that he can turn him around again. So I hope he's right. But look, we'll see. But you could be totally right. Sometimes, and we saw this with the wee blonde boy, tell me his name, Donny van de Beek. Donny, so likeable, so good. The next big thing came to us and it just didn't work. And I think sometimes that happens with players. They're doing so well in other European leagues, and then they come to the Prem, they come to a team like Manchester United, and it just doesn't work. So I think at the moment, Ugarte is looking very much like a Donny van de Beek, but I'm hoping Ruben Amorim, having worked with him before, has the key to turn it around for him. So fingers crossed. But otherwise, we're going to need about 4 midfielders. Straits is saying Cunha will come good second half of the season. Straits, I think that's very, very, very likely. I have to say, I know I expressed some concerns, but I do think that's very, very likely. Rob got Guess out of her nap just by saying her name. So, and she didn't spill the tea because she didn't have any. And she's watching the stream with no tea. Guess, are you sick? Check your temperature. Guess is the only person I know that loves tea more than I do. So this is a worrying concern, and I need somebody to tell me that she's okay. Let me see. Straits, we did for squad depth, but midfield should have been the priority. What our issue was, also goals last season. Yeah, and look, the thing is, Manchester United had a massive problem with goals last season. We needed to get people in that were going to contribute to scoring more. I would suggest that should have been 2 strikers, because Sesko, first of all, now he's injured, and look what we see. Regardless of how good he is, if he's injured, he's not scoring anything. Second of all, we always knew he wasn't the ready-made article. So there was always going to need to be somebody else. And honestly, if Manchester United thought that Xerxes was the answer to the backup striker dilemma, somebody's head needs to roll, because that was a terrible decision. Let me see, who else have we got? And by the way, Twisted, you cheeky sod, I'm always positive. I am always positive, okay? Don't you start that negative Nancy stuff in here. Streets is saying Cheeto's not ready. He's probably not ready. Very fair comment. He's probably not ready, and it's not fair to put him in before he's ready. But that's the thing. If he wasn't ready, if we know Xerxes not a striker, okay, why did we only get Sesko? Because like 10 10s isn't the solution to not having enough strikers, and it just frustrates me. Rob is delighted to see Twisted. Avon is calling. Let me see, the rebuild. I saw it and it's gone. Where did it go? The rebuild. Jared, the rebuild was always going to take 3 to 5 years, but we have potential in the current squad. It just needs tweaking and some ageing players out. Yeah, and we need to replace the players that are aging out with the right kind of people. And one of the things that I thought was the most important from the recruitment we did this summer, all of the players that have been recruited seem to have the right mentality. They seem to have the right attitude. They seem to have, to want to fight for the badge. They seem to understand the importance of what it is to play for Manchester United. There doesn't seem to be rumours about them, in all the kind of what you would call the rags, the kind of the gossip papers, and I suppose the gossip pages on social media now these days. So I think the most important thing we got right was the profile, the personal profile of the player, and I want to see more of that, and it does give me hope that we've started to do some things right. So yes, I agree, it was always going to be a long project. It was never going to happen overnight, and the summer gone was just the start of it, but we need to keep going. We can't go, okay, we've done it for one summer, woohoo for us, that's the end of that. We need to keep doing it, and we need to keep doing it to the same level, and we need to keep doing it for positions we need. Not, please don't buy any more 10s. We're full up at 10. No more. Thank you very much. The machine that goes ping. I'll be walking around pinging now in a wee minute. Who do I think we can realistically look at in the summer? Rob, I will be honest. I don't think we know yet. I don't think we know who we can realistically look at in the summer, because I think while we don't normally operate in January, I think there is so much talk about it, we might just do something. And I mean, Bruno came in a January transfer window, so every so often we surprise ourselves, and if our recruitment is improving, and if we are making tweaks, and if we're determined to do things differently, surely something really bloody different would be to go and buy somebody in a position that we need in the January transfer window, and see if we do that. Honestly, all bets are off, because at that point they really are doing something different. So I think our summer transfer window will be very much affected by that, and I do think there will always be players. While we want the players that will fight for the badge and the one to come to Manchester United because they love Manchester United, there will always be players like Liam Delap that want to know where we're going to finish. And I think it's too early to tell that yet. I think at the moment we are working on January, and I don't think until after January we will start looking at the summer. I also think the targets we go for will very much be dictated to by the relegation zone, which is just as changeable as the top of the table. And when you're looking at Nottingham Forest in the relegation zone a few weeks ago, and now you're looking at Nottingham Forest under Sean Dyche, unbeaten in their last 5, suddenly starting to move up the table a little bit, the price of the player changes. Our budget doesn't. So I think that will have a huge impact as well. I think the positions we will go for, we will be looking at definitely. And you know what that is? It's the United stand. So I'm missing all the crack over there. But I think we will be going for obviously a midfielder, because we're just talking about it too much. And I think the next priority seems to be a left wing back, because there does seem to be an acceptance that Dallo doesn't work there, and that maybe Dorgu isn't the starter in that position. So I think that's the two we're going to be focusing on. I would like to think we're going to get 2 midfielders, a left wing back, and I would want another striker. But that's a big list, especially for ours. But if we get one of those in January, it only leaves us 3 to do in the summer. So really they're just spreading out the workload. I think that's what they should do. Make their own lives easier, you know yourself. Let me see. Paige is saying Donny left the Netherlands too soon, like many Dutch players. He probably needed another year. He probably needed another year. I agree. Oh my God. I try to scroll away bit and then it just completely jumps. What does Lou want to happen in January? Be realistic. I would like not only to sign a midfielder, I would like, once we sign that midfielder, for Bruno not to play in midfield. Because my concern, and I've mentioned this before, I've actually mentioned this on the Football Terrace, my fear is people are talking about United need a midfielder, United need a midfielder, you need to get this guy in so Bruno can go back to 10 and then everything's going to be fine. I'm not convinced that we buy a midfielder and Bruno goes back to 10. Because as I said, Casemiro is getting older. He really shouldn't be playing all the minutes he's playing. And Bruno's the captain. And Amram loves him. I am not convinced that if we sign in January, it's going to move Bruno back into the 10. Because how many other 10s have we got? We've just listed them all. There's loads of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 other 10s outside of Bruno. So if we get a midfielder, I think they might be going in instead of Casemiro, letting Casemiro kind of basically fade his way out of the club. I don't think they're necessarily to replace Bruno for Bruno to go back into the 10. We've just bought 2 and we already had some. So I would want to buy a midfielder and then actually play them. So that would be what I want, which might not be realistic. It might be a bit too much to ask of Amram. But that would be enough for me, because you do have to be realistic. You're not going to get 5 players in January. But I think one really good, solid defensive midfielder, I think would be important. One that's going to start. Yes, that's fair. That's fair. Chris likes tea and coffee, but unfortunately when faced with a choice, he chooses coffee. I find it depends. I like, do you know the little latte sachets you get out of Aldi? No, not Aldi, I'm lying to you, Lidl. I don't like, see, real coffee, like proper coffee. It's too strong for me. I prefer tea over real coffee, but I like the little latte sachets that taste a little bit sweet and they're not like real coffee, but I feel like I'm drinking coffee like a cool kid. I like those. And I actually, many moons ago, I never used to drink coffee at all, but I was a visual merchandiser for a long time. And I used to have to go up very, very early in the morning, and tea just wasn't doing the trick, so I decided I needed to become a coffee drinker, and that's what happened. So there's the story of my life. But yeah, I find it depends. It depends what mood I'm in. It depends what I feel like. It depends what I'm gonna see. If I'm having like chocolate or something sweet with it, I'll have a cup of tea. If I'm not, if I'm having it on its own, I'll have a coffee. I find though the caffeine doesn't affect me. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. If I can drink, like I could have a cup of coffee now after the stream and then go straight to sleep. Same with tea, it doesn't affect me at all. Although I know people that can't drink it after say 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or they're buzzing for the evening. So it does just depend. Jenny will dream of tea instead of drinking it. Seems fair. Jared, the biggest problem we have had is that managers have been coming from inferior leagues and the Premier League is a different thing. We have to get the next manager from the Premier League if we sack Amram. I understand the thinking because the league is so different. It's a different animal. And until you've experienced it firsthand, it's very difficult. And we all have those things in life where you can explain something to death, but the other person, unless they've experienced it themselves, potentially they can try and relate, they can want to understand, but they're not just quite going to get it. I don't think that a manager has to be from the Premier League to be successful in the Premier League. I think it gives them an advantage. I think it helps them. It makes their job easier. So I understand the thinking there. Twisted, other than Bruno, who plays for the badge, a number of our players actually play for the badge. And as I mentioned there, Twisted, actually a lot of our newer players seem to play for the badge more than some of the players that are there a much longer time. It was one of the reasons that I personally never wanted to sell Scott McTominay. I was one of the very few, and I was ridiculed. I was called everything. Sure, I was only a woman and I didn't know anything. I must never have actually supported Manchester United. You know, all the usual tripe. I didn't want to sell Scott McTominay. And I will just say, Scott McTominay would be exactly the kind of player that Ruben Amorim would want to be playing. So, yeah, and I'm delighted to see him doing well now at Napoli. But, yeah, he was one. He absolutely played for the badge. And I'll be honest with you, I think Bruno displays a lot of emotion, but I often think he plays for himself. So I'll just leave that there because I know that's going to be controversial. So I'll leave that there. I'll not keep digging, but that's what I would say. My face every time I get a notification. Do I do these big wide eyes? Chris, if you saw my video the other day, I was doing a pre-record video and whatever happened, the light went off and it was just me sat here in the darkness and I had to pause the video to go and fix the light to be able to finish the video, and my eyes just went because I didn't know what was going to happen. So deer in headlights, very much so. But I'm glad I'm amusing everybody, even if you don't care about Manchester United. I'm glad you're all amused. Lavanya, I hope I said Lavanya, you've been with us before. I'm right, aren't I? Would I swap Amorim and Slot? Absolutely not. No, thank you very much. We've had our fill of Dutch managers. One was enough. Keep them. No, thank you. I hope you kept the receipt. Pizza says these players can't beat an Everton team that slapped their own player. This has nothing to do with Amorim. These players don't want to play for United. And I think there's a lot of merit to that argument. I am not one of the people that says Amorim's the problem, get rid of Amorim, we're all going to be fine, he's just a really bad manager. I do think he has made some questionable decisions. I do think there are some things he does that I go, that's not what I'd be doing, but then I'm not a professional coach. But I definitely do not think Amorim is the problem and he's just a terrible coach. There are definitely a series of problems with these players, and that's why I'm talking about Casemiro aging out, Ugarte out of favour, Menu, who knows, Bruno out of position, and very, very mixed bag. Cunha, niggles, and Mbeumo has been fantastic. Mount injury prone, but when he plays is very good. Xerxes and Ahmad is now forming a relationship with Mbeumo, but that's a really mixed bag. Then we go back to the central defenders that I was talking about. De Ligt very good, Maguire aging out, Shaw injury prone, Martinez injury prone, Maz is rusty and will be going to AFCON, Yoro is learning, and Heaven is even younger than Yoro. So it just, there's a lot. I don't think anybody can just blame the manager, and if they can, it's because they're absolutely just being purposely oblivious to everything else that's happening. So no, I agree with you, Pizza. There's definitely players. We need to continue the clear out. We started the clear out in the summer. We need to continue with the clear out. Arnie can stay at Pool, doing a tremendous job. Paige, I agree with your sentiment wholeheartedly. And it is the only thing bringing me joy at the moment, other than tea. And you, all of you, you bring me joy. Let me see. My cheeks, oh my God, I'm so warm. Do you know what it is? See this light here, so you can all see me. Honestly, it is so roasting. It's really warm. And I think the heating's on and I'm right beside the radiator. So when I come home from work and I set up the stream, this room was really cool. Nobody had been in it all day. But now I'm sat here filling it with hot air from talking. And then my light is really bright. My radiator's on. I'm absolutely roasted. I'm not going to strip my jumper off on a live stream. They might ban me from YouTube for that. So I think I'm on the wrong side if that's what I'm going to start doing. But yeah, so my cheeks are a little bit rosy. My complexion. But yes. And it's mortifying because it just shows how badly organised I am. And I normally have Ash to laugh at me when I'm doing this. When I'm flying solo, I have to laugh at myself. So I'm playing good cop, bad cop here. Twisted, we won't look, promise. Yeah, I believe you, pal. Twisted's agreeing with Paige. Pizza's giving me props. But yes, guys, oh my goodness me. We have just done 54 minutes, lads. 54 minutes. What did I even say? I think you did most of the work there. I just thought I babbled a little bit. But yeah, look, Manchester United absolutely has a midfield problem. But we also have a 10 problem. We have a centre-back problem. We have potentially a manager problem. And we want Elliot Anderson, who's going to fix everything, even though City want him as well. And Nottingham Forest have now started to perform. So the higher Nottingham Forest go up the table, the higher his price tag is going to be. The more teams that become interested, like Manchester City, the higher his price tag is going to be. And the more these things happen, the less likely I think it is that Manchester United will successfully recruit this player. Now, I hope that there are still players out there like Cunha and Mbeumo and Lamens who, when presented with other options, will still want to choose Manchester United. But I don't want to get my hopes up. And pizza, yes, we have a glazer problem. We do. And we know glazing is bad. Glazers are worse. Big bad. We don't want them. Since 2013, which really have been the source of all of the other problems that have erupted from this volcano of problems that we have at Manchester United. The reason, pizza, that I don't overly talk about the owners is not because I don't want them gone. It's because I think that's not something that's going to change in the near future. They're just not going. I would like them to, you would like them to, we would all like them to, but I think the reality is, while this land development, stadium, making money machine is ongoing, they're not going to leave. Which means I don't want to take my energy and spend it on something that's not going to change when we can look at things that might change. Because for me, with this mess that we've been in, I want to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And if I focus on the Glazers, I can't. So I need to look at the things that have been done right, that are changing, that I hope will continue to change in the future. And obviously the end game is that they will be gone. But I like to focus on the things that we can do something about, I hope. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, you're right. We do still need to be vocal about it, especially when we're on a platform like this and, we're talking to people. We do need to be vocal. But yeah, I find I have limited energy and sometimes I just don't have it in me to spend it on them. So I understand your point, but I hope that also makes sense for you as well. But guys, it is 8:20 at night. You are all wonderful people. Thank you so much for joining me. It was an interesting, as per usual, it was an interesting chat. There's always something on one of my streams. You never know what it's going to be, but there's always something. And we had a celebrity guest join us to say hi to everybody. But thank you so much for being here. If you have forgotten, please smash a like on the video on the way out. I think everybody subscribed, but if you're not, please do. Ask your friends. And Flossie, we couldn't get a word in. I'm going to go breathe now for a few minutes because I just talked so much. But I will see you all again very, very soon. I am looking forward to football tomorrow, lads. We're all going to win. See you later.